This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hello you guys, and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah, and thank you for joining me for today's video, where I'll be talking about 6 surprising ways that minimalism has changed my life. There's definitely a lot of very common benefits of minimalism, such as living a more calm life, spending less, some of those types of things. What I'm sharing in today's video are not outcomes that I thought would happen. Let's begin. First, I became a lot more flexible and a go-with-the-flow kind of person. Growing up, I used to be much more rigid and very much a type A kind of person. One example I remember from my youth actually comes from when I was a middle school student, and I was trying to get straight A+ on my report card, and I did end up making it work, but along the way, I had a moment of clarity as I was staying up late working on an extra credit activity for my English class, and I just thought, this is a little much that I'm doing this, and I kind of wish that I wasn't doing this right now. These days, I'm a lot more mellow. I think that probably comes across from the video, and if something doesn't go my way, that's okay. I'm not the type to really get upset or freak out about it, and just kind of look for an alternative path. And I think this came up because with a minimalist lifestyle, as you are learning to simplify your life, you really have to be flexible with yourself and try to figure out what is something that you still want to keep and what do you not need anymore. And sometimes you're looking for multiple uses for a similar item, and sometimes you make mistakes and you wish you didn't purchase something, but you just have to let it go. The second way minimalism has changed me is that it has made me a lot more generous. I do think I was generous earlier on. However, I feel like I was always still first looking out for myself and trying to think, well, let me keep this just in case because this will be best for me, or I'll need this when. And it was very much a selfish focus. I'd still give when there was plenty to give, but if there wasn't, then I wasn't going to be giving. But the more and more that you give away and declutter, I feel like the easier it becomes to be generous, and the mindset changes. I genuinely want to get my items that I no longer need in the hands of others, and even if I technically could justify still keeping it, if it's just going to sit around, I don't want to keep it and withhold that value from someone else. I recently decluttered my car actually and gave it to a family friend, and I could have thought, I might need this car for certain purposes, or this could come in handy during X, Y, and Z. And I'm sure there would be times it would come in handy, but I genuinely didn't need a car every day since I'm working from home starting this year. And I can make it work if I actually need a car for whatever reason. And the person who I gave it to was saving up for a car for a long time, and I was just so happy to give that car to them. And I don't think my past self would have been that generous. Another way that minimalism has changed me is that I've become less sentimental. Now, I definitely am still very much the sappy type, and a good romantic comedy or just heartfelt moments from my day will usually cause me to tear up. But the way I've been attached to my clutter has changed. Previously, I would feel like I had to save everything, every photo, every greeting card, every message, anything that had potential sentimental value, I had to keep it. I was so crazy about this that I even typed up in a Google Doc all of the text messages that Jake and I ever sent to each other from while we were together, before we were actually married. 2 years worth of text messages. Now, this was before we had smartphones, so I was also trying to free up space on my phone because of all the messages, and it ended up being 100 pages of typing. Why would I do that? That's insane. I am happy to have those records, of course, but I realize that you don't have to save everything, and there's a lot in our daily life that we just don't have to keep record of. I feel like it's much more significant to curate that selection of those most sentimental items so you can actually enjoy what you have rather than being bogged down by it. Number 4, I really did not anticipate, and that was changing my job. I first realized I wanted to be a social studies teacher when I was an 8th grade student and taught for 5 years and absolutely loved it. What I did not realize, though, is that online teaching was going to be something that I loved even more, being able to connect with people like you and be able to help others simplify their lives. This has been such fulfilling work for me, and I really didn't expect that this was going to become my full-time job. Granted, though, this has not been an easy feat, and there's been a lot of learning along the way. As I mentioned before, I went to school for a teaching degree, and teaching and business don't naturally mixed together. So I had to learn everything about business on my own or through different courses. Over the years, there's definitely been things that have been more helpful than others. I have spent a couple $1,000s on different courses helping me learn how to do this. And while these courses were very valuable to me, and I don't regret purchasing any of them, I do wish I had known about Skillshare prior to that, because there's so many amazing classes in a huge variety of topics, but they're so much more affordable with the annual subscription being less than $10 a month. That would have saved me a lot of money had I gone that option to teach myself about these different parts of business. No matter what skill you're hoping to learn, Skillshare offers classes about that, with a total of over 25,000 classes. To give a specific example, currently I'm taking a class on copywriting on Skillshare, and I'm really happy I'm using this option because back in April, I almost spent $1,100 to take a class about the same topic. Skillshare's premium membership gives you unlimited access to any course on the site, so you can join the classes and communities that are right for you and fuel your growth. There's already more than 7 million creators who are learning with Skillshare, and I do have a deal for you. The first 500 people who use the link in the description field below will be able to get a 2-month free trial, so you can test out the different courses that are available for Skillshare yourself. The fifth surprising benefit of minimalism has to do with being more intentional with social interaction and relationships. Previously in my life, I would try to focus on just being nice to people and saying yes to a lot of different social gatherings, and if someone invited me to something, I would kind of feel obligated to participate. Now these days I still value being nice to people, but I also value my own time as I realize it's a very precious resource. And if there is something that I don't want to do or a social interaction that I don't want to have, I will politely decline it. And I respect the person enough to not make up some fake excuse about why I'm saying no. Even though this level of honesty and intention may come across negatively to others, it's important that I live my life with integrity. And to be honest, so far in my life, I've had a fairly challenging time making time for all of the friendships I have and making sure I'm continually giving that energy to them. So I definitely don't want to waste my time with those relationships that aren't as meaningful. And in life, if people get upset with you or dislike you in certain ways, they're just not your people. And you want to really find who your people are, because those are the people who are going to fulfill you, and it's just going to be the most meaningful relationship. The last surprising benefit of minimalism is that I care a lot less what other people think. To some degree, I think many of us struggle with our identity and wanting to be liked by others or fit in with others. But through practicing a minimalist lifestyle, I realized it kind of separated me from others, but I'm okay with that. And I've realized there's lots of different ways that I don't fit in with others, and that's okay. When we're first starting to practice a minimalist lifestyle or do something that's a bit unconventional, people might have questions, people might not be used to it or expect it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or a bad fit for you. And it does get easier with time. And at this point, I feel really comfortable with my own beliefs and choices. And even if others don't agree, understand, or even respect those choices, that's okay. And sure, it may be a little unexpected to others, or maybe even a little awkward sometimes to bring up that I am a minimalist, vegan, environmentalist, YouTuber, curriculum developer who doesn't drink alcohol and stays up really late. Those are a lot of different aspects to my life that don't necessarily fit in with the common life experience. But again, that is okay. And if we can celebrate who we are and really live a life that is meaningful to us and what matters to us, then I think you're going to have a much more positive experience through life, especially because you know that you're being true to yourself. Those are 6 surprising ways that minimalism has changed my life, but I'd love to hear from you. If you would also like to share any of the ways it's helped you, you can leave those in the comments below. I'll also put up a few videos for you if you'd like to continue watching, or subscribe to the channel right up here. We'll see you next time. Bye.